Yes, indeed, our ancestors worshipped the gods, but they did that with the wholeness of their heart. They followed the laws of the gods. They never went against them. And that is how come our ancestors did well, because they understood the gods. They say a king is the one that can set rules, set laws, and obey the laws. Such as our ancestors. Our ancestors obeyed the laws of nature, obeyed the laws of life, had an understanding with the gods. But now we are living in a generation where everybody is going after Christianity because we say we are in the Christian era. But see how a mess our generation has become. We've turned our backs on these laws. That is how nothing is working for us. For instance, let's consider this. Let's say my father had a covenant with a God. What would my father do? My father would teach me the regulations, the things that I have to do to keep the covenant going. But that's not what we find in our generation. We've all thrown away the ways of our fathers and we've gone to follow the white man. Meanwhile, the white people, the Western world, is not our root. We need to connect to our roots. We need to connect to where we are coming from. This is the only how we can succeed. This is the only how we can do well. The ways of our Creator are what our fathers held on to. They held on to them so tight, they didn't let go. And that literally became their lives. But today, one person will stand up and say, I go to church, I go to this, I go to this. They forget that the very thing they are fighting against are the very ways of the Creator. How can you fight against your Creator? How? One thing we had growing up was the fact that we knew we were under law. We knew we were under the discipline of our fathers. So when my father asked me to go to the farm with him, there's no way I'm going to be able to say no. But let's consider today's generation. What do we have? You can tell your son to do this and do that, and they will look at you in the face and say no. So we've literally become a lawless generation that has no respect and value for the elderly. How are we going to do any better with no laws, no discipline?
Our enemies are many, and they stand ready to pounce upon and exploit our every weakness. They play upon our vanities and flatter us in every kind of way. They tell us that this particular person or that particular country has greater or more favorable potentialities than the other. They do not tell us that we should unite, that we are all as good as we are able to make ourselves once we are free.
Don't fucking move on. Shoot your fucking ass, bitch. Tase his ass.
Why are you so angry? I'm angry because it's been going on forever. Enough is enough. We're waiting for a back. I will, sir. No worries. I will. Fuck. He just shot his arm off. We got pulled over on Larpener.
I told him not to reach for it. I told him to get his hand out.
You told him to get his ID, sir, and his driver's license. Oh my God, please don't tell me he's dead. Please don't tell me my boyfriend just went like that.
Keep your hands where they are, please.
Yes, I will, sir. I'll keep my hands where they are. Please don't tell me this, Lord. Please, Jesus, don't tell me that he's gone. Please don't tell me that he's gone. Please, officer, don't tell me that you just did this to him. You shot 4 bullets into him, sir. He was just getting his license and registration, sir.
Mid-20th century is Africa's. This decade is the decade of African independence. Forward then. To independence. To independence now. Tomorrow, the United States of Africa.
I was asking our elder that we, this young generation, we that have come up after their generation, whenever we hear about the gods and the powers that be, we always associate them with evil. We associate them with the devil, going to hell, going to the devil, working for the devil, being an agent for the devil. And that is where we stand. I used to go to church, and I didn't go to church anymore. I don't go to church anymore because when I started looking into, when I started investigating, I realized that the Bible was forged out of the history, out of the livelihood, out of the lifestyle, out of the stories of our fathers. The concept of the entire Bible was stories that our fathers lived. This was the very history, the very lives of our fathers. And that's the conclusion I've come to after studying the Bible and theology for so long. We have been misled to throw away so many of our valuable history and tradition in our spiritual ways. And that is why things have become the way they are today. Because let's take, for instance, my father was in partnership, or what they would say, an idol worshiper, and he bet me in that. And that is all I knew growing up. My father was a spiritual man, and that's all he did. Out of that, he made money to marry my mother, give birth to me, raise me up in spirituality. How then do I, somebody like me, turn my back on spirituality? This is all I've known. Listen, guys, I pray that the translation is helping, the voiceovers is helping. Some of the time, I'm not able to catch up. When I keep cutting in, I will mess up the flow. So I don't want to cut in, so we'll just go. I'll try and do the voiceovers. So I asked him if indeed his father was a spiritual man or he was just using that as an example. And he said, oh, his father wasn't a spiritual man, but his father was a farmer. And it is out of farming that he grew up. He also grew up a farmer. And that's all he's known because that's what his father was doing. But his father was not a spiritual man, and his father was not dealing spiritually. So I then asked him that if his father poured libation, and he replied, oh, not really. My father didn't pour libations, but my father knew how to drink alcohol. My father could really drink alcohol, but he didn't pour libation. And it's not like he was a drunk or a drunkard, but what he usually did was that every time he was about to eat, he just used alcohol to boost his appetite so he can really eat well. So he wasn't a drunk, but he could really drink. He knew how to drink. Well, I asked him if he believed that gods are real and they exist. And he said, yes, they do. They exist. So I asked him again if he's seen a god before. And he said previously he had never seen a god before because he was a doubter. He didn't believe that until an event happened. So he's saying that this event happened around 1976, and his father bought a land in 1976 around Asin-Fosu, a district in the central region, at a village called Senchem Gangam. So I asked him what the Senchem Gangam means, and he said that's the name of the village. It's the name of the village that the elders gave to that particular community, Senchem Gangam. That's where his father bought the land. So that is where my father bought his forest, and we started settling the village. We settled the village as the size of what you currently see. I was a doubter. I didn't believe in all these things. I didn't believe in the existence of the gods. So while we were working on this farm or in the forest, there was this single tree called the Odum tree that was standing in the middle of the forest. We tried all that we could to fall this tree, but this tree wouldn't fall down. So my dad went to get a spiritualist. I remember we used to spend a whole day to cut down this tree. by the evening, the tree comes back to its place. So the spiritual man then alerted my father that there's a God in that tree. And until we do certain sacrifices, the God is not going to move. So we bought 7 chickens or 7 hens to offer up a sacrifice to the God in order to allow us cut the tree. Up till the 7th chicken, the God didn't move. When we cut or when we sacrificed the 7th chicken, the chicken opened up its chest. Then that was a sign that indeed the God has allowed for the tree to be cut down. So I asked him that, okay, so it means that whenever you're sacrificing the chicken, if the chicken don't open up its chest and surrender, it means the sacrifice is not accepted. When you offer up a sacrifice and there's a bed, and the bed goes or bows or settles down or squats down without turning itself inside out, it means that the sacrifice is not accepted. So whatever you're going to use the sacrifice for wouldn't be accepted. So it's on the 7th sacrifice that the bed actually showed us the sign that indeed the sacrifice is accepted. What made me finally believe in the existence of God is what happened, what manifested after the tree came down. The tree fell about 200 meters from where we are, just like where we are sitting, to where the church is. And what came out of the tree is what shocked everybody. There was a mighty force that lived in the tree. It was like a whirlwind. It came out like when a chopper is passing, when a chopper is trying to land, the wind, the kind of wind that the chopper is able to create, the propellers are able to create, that's the kind of force that came out of the tree and went into the bush. That's when I knew there was power. So when the spiritual man finished, he said, have you guys seen? Have you seen? You don't believe anything. You don't believe in the presence of the powers that be. But have you seen what have just happened in front of all of you? So if they have not cut down the tree and they are continuing to pour libations to the tree and reverence the presence in the tree, it would have become a very huge God or power in the community, and people will still be going there to date. Because the more you give libations and the more you honor and more you reverence the powers that be, the more they grow and they become big, the more they are very active and powerful. So this is how I started believing in the presence of the powers that be. You need to understand that the Creator created man, and the Creator created man with both good and evil. Because the Creator understood that man can be good and can be bad. So he had to put both entities into man. So both good and evil are all mixed up together in man. The Creator put all two in man. Whichever entities that a single person strive in, you should know that the Creator put that in there. The evil that we refer to as Lucifer, as the devil, is in us. The Creator placed that power, that system, that existence into every single human being. So we must understand that we walk with evil every single day. The heart itself is evil. The heart itself is constantly striving to do wrong. Think about it. When you get angry, what do you think that is? When you have hate in your heart, what do you think that is? For example, see what he just came to do here, being upset, getting drunk. If he wasn't drunk and he hadn't lost it, would he have done the things that he came to do? So every human being has the ability to do evil or to do good. It's in us. It works with us. So my immediate grandfather, my man, you can actually confirm with my mother, my immediate grandfather was in partnership with a God, with the powers that be. If he tells you to lie, you will lie. If he tells you to get up, you will get up. If he tells you to die, you will die. Whatever he opens his mouth to tell you to do, you will do just that. You cannot even resist it. That is how powerful he was. Whatever he speaks, it comes to pass. This very leaf you see before you, my grandfather can talk to this very leaf. And even he will just take the leaf, put it in his palm, rub his palm together, and put it on your eyes. You become a witch. This very leaf. He did that all the time. He would pluck the same leaf, rub it in his palm, put it over your eyes again, and the witchcrafts will go away. He was a man like you and I, but he had power. He had a lot of power. So ask me, where did he get this power from? He got his power from his ancestors, because the ancestors that he came to meet had a relationship with the powers that be. So he studied and he learned and he sat under the feet of these ancestors, and these ancestors taught him all these things. So the minute these ancestors went away, he replaced them and sat in their seat and did the many wonders that his ancestors did before he came in. That is how our fathers were learning. So I asked, when he died, did somebody replace that grandfather? And he said, yes. One of my grandfathers replaced that particular grandfather. When you were coming to this place, you passed by the Liberian camp, right? After Kaswa, the Liberian camp, what we call Budumburam. Our grandfather is the one that settled the place. He's the first person that moved there. He's the first person that lodged there. He's the first person that went there. So that whole place is a place that is named after our grandfather. So that my grandfather took all the gods and the powers of our great grandfather and moved to Budumburam and settled there and established a church there. He used the gods and put the Bible on it. So you will come to his place and he's using the Bible, but the power behind the Bible is actually the gods from our great-great-grandfather. If it wasn't for the mistake that he did, he would have been one of the biggest pastors or bishops or archbishops in Ghana presently. So the name of our grandfather that actually went to stay there, he is called Kwamu. Kwamu is the one that actually went to stay there and settle there. So this is how the name Budumburam came about. The person that actually came to settle, or one of the people that came to settle, was called Budu. And in those days, water was sometimes very hard to come by. There was a lot of drought in the system. So what Budu did was that Budu dug a well so that when the rain falls, it can store up water. And everybody used to go there to fetch water from Budu's well. So when they are going there in Akan, they will say, Milko Budum, Nu Buram, Budum Nu Buram. So it became the name Budum Buram, Budu Nu Buram. So as people came to find out about the well of Budu, they started saying that we are going to Budu's well. And in Budu's well, in our local dialect, we say Budu Niburam, Budu Niburam, say Budum Buram. So by saying it over a period of time, that's what has become the name Budu Buram, Budum Buram. This Budu Buram. And I personally even thought that it was a foreign name. I had no idea this was the history behind it. This whole place was a dry place. Water was very hard to come by in those days. So you have to literally travel miles in distance before you could actually see water. Let's take, for example, a place called Bosumche, where we have the lake Bosumche. What happened is that whole area was dry as well. So all the antelopes used to gather around the lake to drink water. And this is how the white people were hunting them when they come to the lake to take water. So the real reason why the place was called Lake Bosumche is because whenever the dry season comes, all the antelopes and the deers in the forest all comes to the lake to come and drink from the place. And hence, since every water is a god in our spirituality, we know that every water has a power in it. So the people started saying that when you go to this particular lake, you get a lot of antelopes. And some were saying the god in that particular lake was giving antelopes. That god is the god that gives antelopes. So hence we had the name Bosumche, meaning the god of Ochin, the god of antelopes, the god that gives antelopes. But the real reason was because it was drought all over the place, so all the antelopes came down to drink from the lake. So this is how that particular history of Lake Busumchi came about. Every single thing that we see in the book, whether i.e. Bible, Quran, all these stories that we find in this book were all our stories, the stories of our fathers, the stories that happens in the life of our fathers. That is what they used to write what they brought back to us as the Bible. Because our people think the white men wrote these things down, so we've allowed ourselves to be deceived by these things they wrote down. We've been lied to for a long time. We've been lied to. So we've thrown away our history, our own, and we've gone after theirs. So when we are telling them our history, they don't want to listen to it. They want to go after what the computer is saying. But you forget that the computer doesn't have a brain on its own. Man had to input everything in the computer before it can work. This is why we have to all come back. This is why we have to all come back to our root, our spirituality, what our fathers left us with. So I told him that this is why I've also taken up this job. This is why I've decided to go around the villages and learn, so that I can also teach our people the truth and the ways of our Father. These white people have deceived and misled us for a long time. And see what has happened to our kids. Our kids are all caught up in their ways and following their ways. When you see our children today, they don't even want to speak our own language. They don't even want to have anything to do with our language. They're all following the white man's tongue and speaking after their language. So I was telling the elder that, the same thing happened to me. Sometimes I even find it difficult to speak our own language. And I remember back in the days when you spoke Fanti or Chi, they laughed at you and said that you were dumb. So it was very hard to even speak your own language, though you were bet here. So this has caused us to lose a lot of valuable information, a lot of life-changing information, because our fathers that have passed on didn't really get a lot of the youth to pass on the things that they know to them. Let's take, for instance, even me sitting here right now. If I'm blessed with certain intelligence and wisdom, when my children come back today, they say they go to church. When they come back from church, where do they go? They go and sit behind the TV. So instead of them to come to me to learn from me the things that I've also acquired, they are allowing the TVs to teach them now instead of learning from the elders. So if I die today and my children don't learn anything from me, then it means that I've taken everything that I know to the next realm. And that is how come we are losing valuable information. For example, if I never came to you today, I would never really understand the real meaning of Bujumbura and the things that I'm learning today. But one of the things that I really want us to talk about is that how do we tell these young people, how do we tell our descendants that the gods are not evil, that the devil is not in charge of the gods, that the creator actually is the one that created all the gods? That's the issue now. Now is how to even get the kids to believe in the ways of our fathers, to believe in the existence of the gods, of the powers that be. It has become the critical issue now. How do you even get these kids to turn around and come and understand that these gods are what made our fathers who they are? These gods are even the reasons why our fathers became wealthy, our fathers became rich, our fathers became powerful, our fathers became who they were. So if you turn your backs on these gods and you think your life is going to some way, somehow becomes great, become a success, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Even if our generation wants to connect to the powers that be, they only looking for the quick answers, the quick fix, the blood money, the money rituals and all of that. That's what they're looking for. That's absolutely the opposite to what our fathers did. Our fathers were not doing or having their spiritual ways for money. They were not chasing after money. No, they would rather have a good name than have money. Because if now when people ask around, they will say, oh, if this man was alive, if this person was alive, they could do this, and that is good name, and that is better than having any amount of money on you. When good name is better than riches. So this is what our fathers were looking for, not money. They were not chasing after the money. what just happened with what a young man came to do here. He's only looking for the money. And so after him acting the way he did, if we didn't have patience, we just get up and go and nothing will be achieved. Nothing, we will learn nothing out of it. So this generation is only after the money, but not really using the spirituality the way that it was intended to be used for. When let's even take my kids. Today we have the entertainment industry and the music, which is actually stealing our children's attention. They don't even have time to listen to the fathers anymore. Let there be music being played around the block, around the corner. He would just get up and leave without even spending time to understand what is valuable in this life anymore. The whites are using entertainment to brainwash our kids. So do you think our father lived a better life? Oh, of course. Our fathers lived a far better life than us. They lived a good life. You see, they understood life. They knew what life was about. Their lives was not about money. They were not after money. They were not chasing after money. They just wanted to live life. They just wanted to be able to do things that their names would travel far and wide. Now, whenever anybody tries to do anything, the next minute they are envious, they are jealous of the next person. It's become like a competition among people. Everybody wants to get somebody's money. It's not right. Our fathers used to read like miles and acres of maize farms all by themselves. They didn't have to go anywhere. They didn't have to top it up with anything. But in this generation, the minute they do 1-2 acres, they're tired. They want to add money rituals to it. They want to get quick money, easy money. That's the problem. That's actually what is disturbing our generation today. Our fathers, our ancestors valued life more than they did money. They didn't really have any value for money. They valued life. They appreciated life because they knew life was everything. I mean, if you go and chase money, what would money really do for you? Where would money take you? They knew that the more money, as a matter of fact, the more money you make, the more money tells you, the more money dictates to you what you should do with your life. As we speak now, we have a lot of people who have a lot of money, but they don't even know what to do with the money. They can't even spend the money. What is the use of having money and not being able to even spend the money that you have? At the end of the day, you realize that all of this is vanity. It's not really taking you anywhere. So, Elder, finally, what advice would you give those that are watching and are still thinking the powers that be and the gods are evil and they are agents of the devil? Oh, my advice to those watching is that connecting to the powers that be is the best thing that can ever happen to you. I mean, let's even come home in the house. When you eat too much, even the Bible says that you become a fool. But food is good. Food is not a bad thing. But too much of eating also makes you become bad. Like people will say alcohol is not good. Alcohol is a bad thing. Alcohol is a good thing. One elder said that anybody that tells you that alcohol is a bad thing is actually lying to you and deceiving you. In which capacity is alcohol bad? Alcohol is used for a lot of things in our communities. Let's say somebody gets sick and the herbalist that is cooking the herb for this particular person uses alcohol to prepare the herb. What are you going to say? Are you going to say because alcohol was used to prepare the herb, you're not going to take it? Are you saying you're not going to take it? So these are the things that we need to really consider whenever we come into situations like that. Every single thing in this world is good, but when you abuse it, it becomes bad. It doesn't matter what it is. Once you abuse it, it becomes bad. Let me use myself an example. I've been operated on before, so I really have to mind how I eat. If I eat too much, it worries me. And at the same time, I can't delay too much in eating. So doesn't mean food is not good. Food is good, but I have to manage the way I eat. It's the same way there are people that also manage their ways of life, know how and when to do certain things. It's the same way you cannot say the gods are evil. The gods are very good. I mean, it's just that when you use this intelligence to kill, to destroy lives, then that becomes evil. But once you're using it to defend life and protect life, how is this evil? Let's take the plants and the trees and the herbs we have around us. These are things that the Creator has endowed with power and abilities to heal us. So when you go and plug out the plant or the leaf and you use it as a healing aid, you use it as a healing aid to help heal somebody. How is this evil? The Creator created all these things so that they can assist us, they can help us. So when you connect with the powers that be, when you connect with them and you use it for evil, that is what becomes evil. When we even take today's pastors, we can testify. We see all the time, we hear it in the news, all the evil that these pastors are doing. So if you are a pastor and you're doing evil and I connect to the powers that be and I'm helping society and I'm doing what is right, then tell me the sin in this. Tell me which one is sinful. So our elders' final words is, if you are truly connecting to the powers that be, then connect to them. If you want to worship the God of the Bible, then worship the God of the Bible. Whatever you want to do it well. Do it with a clean heart. Do it with all your might. Make sure you are astute in the very thing that you decide to do. But you must understand that the Creator created every single thing that exists in the face of the earth. You cannot tell me you are wiser than the Creator. You cannot tell me you're smarter than the Creator. So if the Creator created the powers that be, then indeed He has a purpose for the powers that be. If you don't understand this, and if you want to fight this, and if you want to eject this, then it's better you connect to the Creator and ask the Creator the questions you want to ask Him. Ask Him why He created the powers that be. Ask Him why He created all that exists. Ask Him, why did you do it? You understand? If the Creator didn't have a need for it or didn't have a use for it, like most Christians would say, why did He even create evil to begin with? You get what I'm saying? So every single thing that the Creator created has a purpose to it, but it is up to us to really connect to everything in existence and begin to ask the very fundamental questions. Why are they here? Why did the Creator create them? What is the purpose to which they were created to exist in this dimension? And life would be a good place for everybody to live. I'm